Okay folks, hope everybody's having a great day. My name is Jack Billings and I'm the CEO and founder of shedknives. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make my clips on my knives. Now my sheath is attached to my belt. Maybe we can get a different perspective. Anyways, here's my Kydex sheath. I'm going to show you how I make my Kydex clips. And yeah, but before we get into that, just a few things. I have a goal. I've been writing this goal down pretty much every day this entire year so far. So we're in what, 26, 27 days by now. And this goal that I've been writing down is to post a video, a long form video like this every single day from February 1st and on. No exceptions through the entire year. So I'm starting now. I've got quite a few videos already built up. And what it looks like will be happening to start is I'll record a video on, we'll just say Monday, and then I'll post it Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. So that's what it looks like I'll be doing to start. But like I said, I have kind of a library full of videos and resources built up. So I'll start to kind of plant those through so I can kind of push this out a little bit. So anyways, that will be very exciting, and I hope to be able to continue to do that. And actually, just a thought, instead of just hoping for it to happen, because hoping for things to happen rarely works, if it ever works. So I'm hoping it'll work. Really, I'm hoping my plan will work because I set a plan in place. Recording times, editing times, posting times. I've set a plan in place to make this happen, so that's what I hope will work. But I will adjust accordingly to make it happen. Thank you all for your support, and let's start with the video. Alright my friends, Kydex clips. Let's check this out. So this is what I use. I use Kydex for my sheath and my clips as of the 2023 models, most likely the 2024 models as well. How do I make this though? There's a few different components. We have the holes in here that the screws mount to. I have this little angle. How do I get the angle? How do I cut this shape? And why did I decide to do all of this stuff? So before I get into the actual explanation, I'm gonna turn my machine on. This is my Kydex press. I need to buy a new Kydex press because it broke. I do so many Kydex sheaths that it actually broke off. And man, so anyways, this thing is gonna heat up. Right now I have this sitting on some aluminum blocks just to kind of keep it from lighting the place on fire until I can get a new one. But anyways, got that. This paper, let me get my air compressor so I can kind of clean this off. Now that's taken care of. There is the sheet. I'm not really sure what this is called. It's kind of like a woven fabric in a way. It kind of feels a little waxy. I'm not really sure what this is. But anyways, it came with this machine. And what I know about it is that you're supposed to use it to separate your material, which in this case, Kydex, with the heat, because otherwise it'll stick to the heat. So this, you gotta separate. And what this machine is specifically, because if you want to get one for your own, this is really a t-shirt press. Because t-shirt presses, they heat up the kind of sticky thing you put on your shirt, where this does the same thing I need for the Kydex. I've seen people put their Kydex in an oven. They put it in there for like a minute or so, and then it gets nice and like wobbly, whatever Kydex needs to be. So I cut my Kydex down. I have 3 different sizes. This is the size I use for my clips. This is the size I use for my bigger blades. And then this is the size I use for my smaller blades, like the skewer. And I currently use a taco Kydex form, where there are some other companies that use a hamburger form, which what taco is, a taco, basically you set the knife in here and then you fold it once this is warm. And then the hamburger would be you set the knife in here and then a second piece on top, and that's how you get your form. So just two different ways to do Kydex. So while this is heating up, this is basically what I'm trying to make. I'm gonna take this piece, I'm gonna fold it in my Kydex press, which is down there. Have a few different systems I'm gonna use. But anyways, this is what I want. I want a sheet like this, because I can get 5 clips out of it, which will end up going on the knife, and then I can finish from there. So how do I actually get this shape? Let me bring you down to the next process. So here I have my Kydex press. Basically this takes the Kydex and the knife, put it in here, and then you clamp it together, and it molds the Kydex to the knife in the shape you want. So how I get the actual clips, here's what I do. Basically I lay this flat metal piece down on the back, so it would look something like this. I set this down here, and then when I get my Kydex hot, I'm gonna put this in so it looks pretty much like this. I've cut this G10 to match most belts. It's the thickness that will allow most belts, and it's also the width that will allow most belts, because that's what I want for my clips. So anyways, I'm gonna put this in here, which I would fold it. I'll show you shortly, but this is gonna go in here, and then that way, see, when I clamp it together, what will happen is this metal will keep the back flat, and then since this G10 is keeping the shape kind of full right here, it's keeping that shape, then the actual cushion will press the rest of it around what I've built. So kind of hard to describe, but since the machine is heating up right now, I'll be able to get some Kydex going. In the meantime, I'm gonna cut this, and I'm also gonna tell you some materials you need to make this happen if you want to do it for yourself. If you want to do your own Kydex sheaths, let me tell you what you need. You need a pair of cotton gloves. You can pick these up at Harbor Freight, Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever you have a hardware store. Some cotton gloves that will keep your hands cool. You can also use work gloves. You also need Kydex. You can get this at holstersmith.com. They sell a lot of Kydex. Then the other things I've already shown, you're going to need your t-shirt press or an oven that will heat up your Kydex. I'm running 375 degrees for 45 seconds, and that just gets the Kydex hot enough for me to use. Some people have cooler temps, longer times. Some people use higher temps, lower times. Just for me, 375 for 45 seconds works best. Then you again need your Kydex press down there. That's going to actually give you the form of either the clip, the knife, whatever you're doing. I did a video on how I make my sheaths, so you can check that out. I'll tag that kind of in the corner there, but you can check out how I actually do the Kydex sheaths. Then you need a belt sander, so I'll be using this multi-tool grinder. This one is a 2x48. I use a 36 grit belt sander, and then I use a buffer that I got from Holster Smith, and this is specifically a Kydex buffer to smooth the edges and whatnot. So this thing is really nice. I like to use that. And then we're gonna need a drill press of some sort. And if you can get a drill press that has a milling setup, that's even better, because that's what I use. So yeah, and also either a bandsaw or a table saw that's going to cut these 5 clips. Now if you want, you can cut these down, like if you only need 1 or 2, you don't need to use the full sheet. But because I do dozens and dozens of clips, this is what works best for me. So just whatever you want. So I need the table saw so I can cut this and make them perfect. But if you're doing 1 or 2, again, you don't need a table saw, just a band saw, or even you could just use the belt sander, whatever works. So that is about it. You also need yourself, there you go, and a respirator. But as far as I know, that is it, and we can get to cutting. So let's get to it. While I was editing, I thought it would be a good idea to show
the actual Kydex forming part of the video before I do the cutting part. So here I am. I just laid my Kydex sheet down. I put that woven fabric, that's what we'll call it, down, and then the heated t-shirt press on top. Putting on my Kydex gloves. Don't forget, if you're doing this, by the way, if you're following along, make sure you click the button on your machine that starts the timer, because otherwise you won't know when to take it off. So there's a clip that I've cut before. It's basically what it's going to look like. And we're just letting this timer go down. Now, I will talk about why I chose Kydex for my clips here shortly, but I just want to get this whole forming process done before we get into that. Alright, so I'm getting everything set up. That's always important. Turn the button off. There we go. And we want to move fast. I use a higher temp because I know I'm not the fastest person when it comes to sheaths. I like to double check. I like to make sure everything looks right. I like to make sure everything is going to be where I want it when it's cooled down, so I don't have to redo it. So that's why I take a little longer for getting it in, pressed, and ready to go compared to some other knife makers. But the quality at the end is much better, and it shows. Clip fell, but that's alright. Just get that back up. And my camera angle I thought would show this a little bit better. But basically, I just push the Kydex all the way down into the bottom of the Kydex form. There you go. And I just squeeze it so it is very, very compacted down there. Alright, then I get that set up. I get my place cleaned up, ready for the next batch of Kydex clips. Alright, moving over to the cutting room. While I get set up here, let me tell you why I chose Kydex clips over, for example, Ulti clips. I get a lot of recommendations saying, Jack, you should use an Ulti clip. They're a lot stronger, they're metal, they're another US business. There's plenty of reasons, and I'll be honest with you, I've talked to the Ulti clip people. I think they're very nice. They're a Christian family. I can respect their business model, where they came from. I think that's fantastic. But at the end of the day, it comes down to two things. Number one, are they US made? Yes. Or at least I believe so. And then number two, cost. How much does it cost? Will it keep my knives below $200 per piece? And with Ulti clips, with their dealer pricing, with their wholesale pricing, it will not work for me at this current spot. Now, I have brought in 2 CNC machines to make things both faster and cheaper for production. So that may allow a little room for Ulti clips later on in the year. I'm not sure. But that is why I don't use those clips at the time being. It just comes down to cost. Now, why Kydex? I could have picked any other material. Well, I already have Kydex. I already buy it in bulk. I buy several hundred square feet of Kydex at a time. So that is a lot of Kydex. And also cost. When you buy that much Kydex, it is very, very affordable. And each clip it's very cheap. And I've had a few people say, hey Jack, maybe my clip broke, or could you send a second one? Like, where do I buy a second one? I do have an option for you to buy these clips online, but because of how cheap they are for me to make in terms of materials, I just send you clips. So if you've bought a knife from me and you have an issue with this clip, I'll send you one, I'll send you 2, whatever you need, I'll take care of you. If you haven't bought a knife from me and you just want a clip, send me an email. I'll see what I can do for you. But it just keeps the cost extremely low, which keeps my knives under $200. And that's what I want to do, because I know not everybody wants to spend $300, $400, $500. Actually, let's be real. I don't think anybody wants to spend $300, $400, $500, etc. dollars on a knife. And Joe X, go check him out. He talked about that. He talked about some knife companies that are charging way more than you need for a knife, and I try to look out for the end user, not just the dealer, not just the wholesaler. Those guys are great. I certainly look out for them as well, but we should all be looking out for the end user, and that's what I try to do. So now I'm going to grab my clips, bring them over. This is now the milling process. Getting my clip set up, pardon my arm, and I'm about to stick my head by the drill bit so I can make sure everything's aligned. If you're doing this at home, make sure your machine is turned off. Here I am moving in where the machine is on. Make sure you turn it off, because you don't want to get pulled in. Now with that zoom, it looks like I'm a lot closer to the machine. We're really kind of far from it, but that zoom just makes it look very close. But anyway, safety first, especially if you're using a very strong machine like this. This thing will pull you in. Alright, I drill that bottom hole, and if you look very closely on the actual vise, I have 3 kind of dots, 3 lines that tell me where I need to drill. So now I'm going to lock my drill bit down and just crank this over so I can get that nice straight line. And this allows for the adjustability in the clips. So maybe my grommets are not the exact same distance apart at all parts of the sheath. Well, having a line of space, you can have a little variation. There we go. Got the rough finish. It's now time to cut all that out. Yes, as a fixed blade enthusiast, I do use a folder. Look at me. But yeah, this is a discontinued Kershaw for anyone wondering. Or actually, no, that particular knife is not discontinued. I just got that one. But I generally use a Kershaw for the Kydex. Everything else, though, use a fixed blade. Alright, as you can see, I'm on the belt sander, just kind of shaping this up. You can always remove more material, you can never add it back, so just be careful. There we go. I also put a grommet in just to keep everything aligned, so that helps keep the clip from moving on me. Now I'm on the buffer. There we go, nice and neat. And I'm going to finish up by cleaning this thing up, taking the grommet out, and getting the air compressor. So just want to clean it up best I can, try not to scrape it, clean my area off. I like a clean workspace. And there's the end product. Looks very nice, got that curve so it sticks off the knife a little bit. And now I'm going to take my flathead screw, my rubber filler, or I guess rubber washer, I don't know if you call it a rubber washer, but my filler, and attach those two together. Then I'm going to line them up with my grommets on the knife. Here I have the 2023 sheep's foot. This is going out to a customer, so thank you very much for your support. I know you've been waiting quite a while for this blade, so I appreciate your patience. Now I'm putting in the Phillips head bits. Use my drill and tighten those things down. You want this tight so your clip does not pop off. There we go. Awesome. Well, if you want to check this out online, you can go to shedknives.com, pick out your own 2023 model. Stay tuned for the 2024 release. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit the subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, folks.